The Sukhoi Su-17 is a Soviet variable sweep-wing fighter bomber developed from the Sukhoi Su-7. It enjoyed a long career in Soviet, later Russian, service and was widely exported to Eastern Bloc, Arab air forces, Angola and Peru as the Su-20 and Su-22. It is the first variable sweep-wing of Russian, Soviet origin. The Su-17 set a number of world records. Development. Seeking to improve low-speed and takeoff landing performance of the Su-7B fighter bomber. In 1963 the Sukhoi OKB with input from SAGI created a variable sweep-wing technology demonstrator. The Su-7IG, converted from a production Su-7BM, had fixed inner portions of the wing with movable outer segments which could be swept to 28 degrees, 45 degrees, or 62 degrees. A fixed inner wing simplified construction, allowing the manufacturer to retain the Su-7 landing gear and avoiding the need for complex pivoting under wing hardpoints, and it minimized the shift in the center of pressure relative to the center of mass with change in wing sweep. The new wing also had extensive leading-edge slats and trailing-edge flaps. Su-7IG first flew on 2 August 1966 with V.S. Ilyushin at the controls, becoming the first Soviet variable geometry aircraft. Testing revealed that takeoff and landing speeds had decreased by 50 to 60 km per hour compared to the conventional Su-7. The production aircraft was named Su-17 and was unofficially dubbed Strige in service. Aside from the new wing, it differed from its predecessor Su-7 in having a new canopy and a dorsal fuselage spine for additional fuel and avionics. The Su-17 first flew on 1 July 1969 with E.K. Kukushev at the controls. A total of 2,867 Su-17 and its variants were built, of which 1,165 were exported to 15 nations. Operational history. Soviet Union, Russia. The Su-17 entered service with the Soviet Air Force in 1970. The aircraft was used by both the Soviets and the Afghanistan government forces during the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. High-altitude airfields and hot, dusty climate created special operational challenges. In the summer, the takeoff roll of the Su-17 increased 1.5-fold and landings frequently ended with burst tires and brake fires. Avionics failures were common due to heat and sand contamination. However, the AL-21F engine proved tolerant of routine ingestion of sand and sand-contaminated fuel, and by 1985 the combat readiness of the Su-17 fleet exceeded that of the Sukhoi Su-25 and the helicopters. The first series Su-17s were quickly replaced with more capable Su-17M3 and Su-17M4. Despite its durability and payload, the aircraft proved ill-adapted for combat in the mountainous terrain due to high attack speeds, low maneuverability, and the need to stay out of range of anti-aircraft artillery due to lack of significant armor protection. Although external armor was added around the engine, hydraulics, and fuel systems based on damage analysis, this was still insufficient compared to dedicated close air support Su-25s. The appearance of MANPADS such as the Soviet-made Strela II, and the American -43 Finnish Marcus Redeye and later -92 Finnish Marcus Stinger, presented a new threat and forced Su-17s to even higher operational altitudes. Revised tactics and retrofit of up to 12 flare dispensers which fired automatically during the attack run proved effective, and in 1985 only one Soviet Su-17 was lost to ground fire. Forced to operate 3,500 to 4,000 meters above ground, Su-17s shifted from using unguided rockets to bombs, including thermobaric weapons, while Su-25s were tasked with precision strikes. Towards the end of the war, the Su-17 force was partially replaced by the Miko-Yangurovich MiG-27s in order to perform operational testing of the new fighter bomber. The Su-17 M3-quarters were used during the First Chechen War alongside Sukhoi Su-24s and Sukhoi Su-25s in ground attack and reconnaissance missions, in a move to eliminate single-engine strike aircraft from its inventory. The Russian Air Force retired its last Su-17 M4 along with its fleet of MiG-23, 27s in 1998. Around 550 remain in service with other nations. Angola. The Soviets supplied the Communist government of Angola with 12 Su-20 Mus in 1982 or 1983, which formed the basis of the 15th FS. The squadron suffered a swift loss of at least 6 aircraft, most in mishaps, by 1985, and 3 more by 1988. And had only 2 aircraft left when it was reinforced with another Soviet batch of 14 Su-22 M-4 kiloseconds and 2 Su-22 M-3 kiloseconds in 1989-90. A second shipment from Belarus in 1999 consisted of 2 Su-22 UBs and 4 Su-22 megaseconds. And a third one from Slovakia in 1999-2001 consisted of 10 Su-22 M4S and 1 Su-22 UM-3K. These aircraft saw heavy use in the war against UNITA. From the aforementioned losses, which cannot be classified as mishaps or combat attrition, only an Su-20M serialed C-510 was reportedly downed in 1987, and a better documented case occurred on 6 November 1994 when an Su-22 based at Katumbela was shot down by a SAM fired by UNITA during a raid against Huambo. The pilot managed to eject and flee naked after stripping off his flight suit. Iraq. From the 22nd of September 1980 to the 20th of August 1988, during the Iran-Iraq War, Iraq used Su-17 export versions alongside older Su-7s. They were most used in ground attack and close air support role. In 1991, during the Gulf War, they saw limited active service because the Iraqi regime distrusted the Air Force. 2 Su-20 22s and 1 Su-7 were shot down by a USAF F-15C in the closing days of the campaign, when the IQAF was moving its aircraft to Iran. Many more were destroyed on the ground by coalition air forces or evacuated to Iran, and they were never returned. On 20 and the 22nd of March, 2 other Su-20 22s were downed by a USAF F-15C during Operation Provide Comfort that started soon after the war. During the Iran-Iraq War, Iranian F-14s shot down 21 Su-20 22s that have been confirmed by Western sources. 18 Su-20 22s were also shot down by Iranian McDonnell Douglas F-4 Phantom IIs, and 3 by Iranian Northrop F-5s. Official Iraqi accounts show no loss of Su-20 aircraft throughout the war against the Kurds in Iran. 20 Su-22 M2, 2 Su-22 M3 and 7 Su-22 M4 were lost during the war with Iran, the majority to ground fire sustained during low-level bombing raids against the Iranian front lines. Libya. 2 Libyan Su-22s were shot down in the Gulf of Sidra incident by U.S. Navy Grumman F-14 Tomcats on 19 August 1981. 1 Su-22 fired an AA-2 Atoll missile head-on at one of the F-14s from an estimated 300 meters closing distance. Both were then downed by AIM-9 Sidewinder missiles. On 8 October 1987, in the aftermath of the Chadian-Libyan conflict, an Su-22 Mk was shot down by FIM-92A fired by Chadian forces. The pilot, Captain Diyar al-Din, ejected and was captured. He was later granted political asylum by the French government. During the recovery operation, a Libyan MiG-23 MS was shot down by FIM-92A. A Libyan Su-22 crashed near the city of Benghazi, Libya on 23 February 2011. The crew members, Captain Atta Abdel Salam al-Abdali and his number 2, Ali Omar Gaddafi, were ordered to bomb the city in response to the Libyan civil war. They refused, bailing out of the aircraft and parachuting to the ground. Su-22s were heavily used by the Libyan loyalist forces against the insurgent forces from mid-February up to mid-March 2011, when the international mission started and the no-fly zone was imposed. Among other missions, Su-22s also attacked anti-Gaddafi positions on Bin Jawad in early March 2011 as government forces retook the town. Some Libyan Air Force Su-22s were claimed shot down by the rebels. One was destroyed on the ground by a Belgian Air Force F-16AM on 27 March. All other Libyan Air Force Su-22s, in flying conditions which were Su-22M3 version and trainers, were destroyed in the opening nights of the UN air raids in their shelters. In January 2015, it was reported that Libyan forces were trying to restore older Su-20 airframes, retired before the Libyan civil war, to flying condition to push them back to service, to use against opposing forces in the Libyan civil war. Peru was the only Latin American export customer of the type. On 24 April 1992, Peruvian fitters attacked a U.S. Air Force Lockheed C-130H Hercules of the 310th Airlift Squadron, which was intercepted at sea, west of Lima, injuring 6 of the 14 crew members. Crew member Joseph C. Beard, Jr., was killed when he was sucked from the cabin at 18,500 feet, and crew member Ronald Hetzel sustained severe injuries, with his chest blown open and his jugular vein severed. The incident caused an almost year-long interruption to the U.S. anti-drug air bridge denial program and the establishment of a joint air operation center at Howard Air Force Base in Panama. During the 1995 Senapal War between Peru and Ecuador, 2 Peruvian Sukhoi Su-22 were lost. On 10 February 1995, 2 Ecuadorian Air Force Mirage F-1 jets, piloted by Maj. R. Banderas and Captain C. Uzcategui, were directed over 5 targets approaching the disputed Senapal Valley. After making visual contact, the Mirages fired their missiles, claiming 2 Peruvian Su-22A fitter shot down, while a KFIR claimed a further A-37B Dragonfly. Peru, however, denied that the 2 Su-22A fitter were shot down by Mirages. The Su-22s flew 45 sorties into the combat zone. A 20-strong force of fitters was also set up at El Pato as a retaliatory force should Ecuador decide to attack the coastal port. Poland. On 19 August 2003, a Polish Air Force Su-22M4K was accidentally shot down by friendly fire during an exercise by a Polish 2K-12 Cube battery. The aircraft was flying 21 kilometers from the coast over the Baltic Sea near USTKA. The pilot ejected and was rescued after 2 hours in the water. He later died in SE-295M crash on 23 January 2008. As of 2012, Poland is planning to replace its Su-22s with 3 squadrons of UAVs. As of 2014, the Polish Air Force is planning to retain the Su-22s in service. The Air Force will either keep all of its planes for the next 3 years, or withdraw half of them, use the remainder for the following decade. It is hoped that this decision will have a positive impact on Polish industry, as the WZL Near 2 repair facility in Bydgoszcz will maintain the remaining aircraft under contract to the Air Force. The decision will also allow the Air Force to retain the well-trained ground crews and pilots currently operating the machines. The Poles consider the Su-22 easier to maintain and repair than the other main combat aircraft types currently in Polish service. They also suffer from fewer malfunctions and other problems. It is also the only plane in Polish inventory equipped for electronic intelligence, warfare, and support of ground systems. The Polish Air Force has retained a large stockpile of air-to-ground weapons for use with the Su-22. By some estimates, the cost of destroying these resources would be higher than the projected cost of continuing Su-22 operations. There is one exhibited at the Museum of Polish Arms in Kołobrzeg, Syria. The Syrian Air Force used Su-22s to attack Israeli forces in the Yom Kippur War and 1982 Lebanon War. Several Su-22s were shot down by Israeli Air Force during the Syrian Civil War. Since the second half of 2012, Syrian Air Force Su-22s have been involved in combat operations against the Syrian insurgents. Like other SYAF fixed-wing aircraft, videos showed Su-22s using unguided munitions, mostly general-purpose bombs, cluster bombs and incendiary bombs, and unguided rockets. Strike techniques were low to medium altitude flat bombing runs with pull-up after ordnance delivery and used decoy flares for self-defense. As of the end of 2015, the SYAF Su-22s suffered a limited number of losses compared to the SYAF MiG-21 and MiG-23 during the same period. The first confirmed loss of a SYAF Su-22 was recorded on 14 February 2013, when rebel forces shot it down using a MANPADS. Yemen. On the 11th of August 2009, Yemeni armed forces started Operation Scorched Earth in northern Yemen to fight the Houthis. The Yemeni Air Force backed the army with air raids on rebel-held positions. On 5 October 2009, a Yemeni Su-22 crashed when it was flying in formation with another aircraft on the way back from a mission. The rebels claimed to have shot it down, while Yemeni armed forces denied shooting the claim and claimed that crashed due to technical problems. Earlier on 2 October, the Yemeni revolutionaries said they shot down a MiG-21, while again the military insisted technical problems caused the crash. On 8 November, a third Yemeni fighter aircraft reported to be a Sukhoi was destroyed. Again the military claimed it crashed due to technical problems, while the Yemeni revolutionaries claimed they shot it down. The pilot ejected and was recovered by friendly forces. The Yemeni Air Force once again used Sukhoi aircraft during the Arab Spring uprising. On 28 September 2011, a Yemeni Air Force Su-22 was shot down by tribesmen opposed to the rule of President Saleh. The government confirmed that rebel tribesmen were responsible for the shoot-down, and that the jet's pilot had been captured. On February 19, 2013, a Yemen Su-22 on a training mission crashed for unknown reasons into Sana'a, killing 12 civilians. On May 13, 2013, a Yemen Su-22 on a training mission crashed in Sana'a, killing the pilot. Operators. Angola. The People's Air and Air Defense Force of Angola operates 8 Su-22 variants. Poland. The Polish Air Force operates 26 Su-22M4 and 6 Su-22UM3K aircraft of 110 delivered. Syria. 50 Su-22 aircraft served with the Syrian Air Force prior to the Syrian Civil War. Vietnam. 38 Su-22M4 examples serve with the Vietnam People's Air Force. Yemen. 26 Su-22 have served with the Yemen Air Force. Former operators. Iran. Islamic Republic of Iran Air Force. The Iranian Air Force received a number of Su-22s from Iraq in 1991. While non-operational for several years, in 2013, Iran started an overhauling program. In March 2015, it seems that some of the former Iraqi, the Iranian Air Force Su-22 were transferred to the Syrian Arab Air Force to fight in the ongoing civil war. Democratic Republic of Afghanistan. Afghan Air Force. More than 70 were sent to the Afghan Air Force from 1982, including 45 Su-22M4 delivered from 1984. Armenia, Azerbaijan, the Azerbaijan Air Force, Belarus Air Force. The Belarusian Air Force inherited Su-17s from the Soviet Air Force, but none remain in service. Bulgarian Air Force. The Bulgarian Air Force operated 18 Su-22M4 and 5 Su-22M aircraft. All are retired. Czechoslovakian Air Force. The Czechoslovakian Air Force's Su-22 inventory was split between the Czech Republic and Slovakia in 1993. They were passed on to the Czech Air Force. Czech Republic Czech Air Force. The Czech Air Force inherited 31 Su-22M4 and 5 Su-22UM3K. All were retired in 2002. East Germany Air Forces of the National People's Army. The East Germany operated 48 Su-22M4 and 8 Su-22UM3K until unification, when they were passed on to the Luftwaffe. Volksmarine. The East German Navy operated 8 Su-22M-4 kiloseconds and 2 Su-22UM-3K aircraft. Egyptian Air Force. The Egyptian Air Force operated 48 of Su-22 aircraft, although all have been withdrawn, being replaced by the F-4 Phantom II and General Dynamics F-16 Fighting Falcons in their role. Germany Luftwaffe. A number of Su-22 aircraft were inherited from East Germany, although these did not serve in the Luftwaffe. But some of them were painted with a Luftwaffe color scheme for test and evaluation. All of them have been decommissioned. German Navy. Ex-Volksmarine aircraft. Hungarian Air Force. The Hungarian Air Force maintained 12 Su-22M3 and 3 Su-22UM3 aircraft from 1983. 2 single-seat and 1 training aircraft crashed. Withdrawn from service in 1997. Iraqi Air Force. The Iraqi Air Force received a number of Su-22 models, of which some were taken by Iran in 1991. None survived the 2003 invasion of Iraq by the United States. All Russian-made and Chinese-made fighters acquired during Saddam Hussein's regime will be replaced by US-made F-16s. Kazakhstan Su-17 aircraft were inherited by the armed forces of the Republic of Kazakhstan, but never put into service. Libyan Arab Jamahiriya. The Libyan Air Force operated as many as 90 Su-22 aircraft, with around 40 Su-22M3 and Su-22UM3K aircraft in service at the beginning of 2011 when the Libyan uprising started. During the Libyan civil war, the Gaddafi regime used Su-22s in combat operations. North Yemen Air Force. Peruvian Air Force. The Peruvian Air Force acquired 32 Sukhoi Su-22A Fitter F, 4 Su-22U Fitter E, 16 Su-22M Fitter J and 3 Su-22M Fitter G aircraft between 1977 and 1980. Retired in 2006, 11 remain in reserve status. Russian Air Force. The Russian Air Force inherited Soviet Su-17 aircraft but has withdrawn the type from service. At least one example remains flying as a chase aircraft operated by Sukhoi at their Napo facility. Russian Naval Aviation. Slovak Air Force. The Slovakian Air and Air Defense Forces inherited 18 Su-22M4 and 3 Su-22UM3K aircraft from Czechoslovakia in 1993. In 1999, 6 Su-22M4 and in 2001, 4 Su-22M4 and 1 Su-22UB aircraft were sold to Angola while rest of the fleet was grounded and is being used as museum exhibits and as teaching aid in flight schools. South Yemen Air Force. Soviet Union Su-17s were split between post-USSR countries. Soviet Air Force. Soviet naval aviation. Turkmenistan. A number of Su-17 aircraft were inherited by the military of Turkmenistan, but they were never put into service. Ukrainian Air Force. A total of 40 Su-17 aircraft were inherited from the Soviet Union, and most of them now retired from service, but a few are stored. Uzbekistan. A number of Su-17 aircraft were inherited by the military of Uzbekistan. Now all are retired and stored at Chishik.